So to start off with, I just want to give a little bit of introduction to the society that I'm representing today. The society is very well known in Bangalore and elsewhere for this particular building, which is called the Dali Memorial Hall. It was built in the, as you can see, it was built in the year 1917. So it's more than a century old. This is a place where we hold some talks and lectures. Just giving a little bit of context to the society itself. It was started in 1909, so it's 115 years old now, and it was started by mostly Europeans and a few Indians. The objective of setting up the society was, at that time, most of the research in history was being done by Europeans, by Mysore history. Mysore is the state that we are in, or it used to be the kingdom at that time. It used to be done by Europeans, and they felt that the story of Mysore should actually be told by Mysoreans, and they founded this society. It's a very interesting thing that I'm talking to you to a German institution which is doing Indology work here. Similarly, my own institution here also was founded by Europeans with the objective of researching Mysore specifically. And we research only in the areas of history, heritage, religion, linguistics, and allied subjects, not anything else. Most of the work we do is in that area. What the society does is it has a very exhaustive public library. It's accessible for anyone, no membership or anything. We have about 50,000 books in these fields, mostly about Indic history. It's essentially the go-to reference for anyone in this region who wants to look up some history books or references. We are also we also have a publication of our own called the Quarterly Journal of the Mythic Society. The claim to fame is that from 1909, we have not missed a single issue in all these 115 years. So it is a reputed journal in the field of history, and it carries articles from everyone. We're just not talking about it, and we'll be happy to have these copies of this journal also shared with both of your universities. We also have a few publications, again, in the same fields. Occasionally, we do publish books. While that's not our big, this one, any work that's done within the society or some members of the society is usually published by us. The other thing is the kind of lectures that we have today. We have bi-monthly lectures where we invite historians, archaeologists, and people of some expertise in these fields to come and talk. Again, these are endowment lectures. There's about 25 endowment lectures that have been instituted by various people, and they are held almost twice a month. We also have an art gallery, and the last part is the society also funds a few research projects. So the project that I'm going to be talking about today is funded by the research by the Mythic Society. The institution is completely self-funded. We don't take any donations either from private or the government bodies. What you see behind the hall, you see a 5-story building. There's 2 buildings on either side. The rental incomes from these buildings is what funds the society. Okay, this photograph was on a beautiful, nice rainy day a year ago. The red carpet is laid out actually for the UK Minister of State of Science History who was visiting Bangalore, and he had come there. So this was the carpet was rolled out for him. Then we normally don't have the carpet there like that on other days. Okay, so I want to start with a small video clip. What I would like you to do is, as you can see, this seems to be something like a religious event. I would like you to, for the duration of this video clip, which is a minute, immerse yourself in this, be there on the spot and observe. See what's happening, and I'll then describe the story to you. So let me play the video to you. Please, for a second, wherever you are in the world, this is a video clip from Singapura, a suburb in Bangalore, and the deity is being ready to be taken out in a procession. Let me play the video for you. So this scene, for anyone familiar with India Hindu traditions, it's the procession deity, the Utsava Murti of the temple. Uh, while from the clip, it appears like the temple is a modern temple. Actually, it's a temple from the 15th century. The interior is still very clearly Vijayanagar style and all of that. This is called the Singapura Tirumalai Tiruvengadanatha temple. This is the Venkateshwara temple there. And what's so special about this is that the deity is coming out of the temple after almost about 10 plus years. And what should have been an yearly event has not happened in 10 years. And what triggered this now was the discovery of an inscription stone related to this god and the temple. So if you saw the date, if you see the date on the screen there, it says November 26, 2024, a few months back. This is not a festival day. It is the day of installation of that inscription. And that inscription mentions the place name Singapura and this god Tiruvengadanatha. Okay, so when the people of that place, all the people you're seeing on the screen right now, realize that it's going to be the 500th year anniversary of the inscription, the event that had stopped because of some kind of disputes there, the people came together and they said, this year we're going to celebrate the festival on this particular day in a grand way. So the god who was sitting inside came out after 10 years. And if you saw the symbolism there, the palanquin was being kind of swaying left to right. That's the happiness of the god, indicating his happiness, joy at seeing his own people. So this procession actually, this is the start of the procession. This was around 4:30 in the evening, and this went on for about 4 hours and covered about 10 kilometers. They carried the deity like this, and the roads were washed clean. There was flowers decking the roadsides. There were mango leaves, the torna, and all of that decking the roadsides. It was a fantastic event there. What triggered this was an inscription stone, which was also visible in the clip, but unfortunately, it's an amateur video, so there wasn't focus on that. There's a small inscription, the discovery of an inscription stone, the mention of this particular god in that, and the place name in that, essentially was something that excited the local people there in such a manner. So for anyone who studies inscriptions, you don't feel this kind of an emotion because you're an epigraphist or a historian or whatever. But when the people of the place realize the value of or the content and how they relate to an inscription, this is what happens. Okay, so let me move on. And show you again, different scenarios, and then kind of show how inscriptions connect with non-historians or with the common people or the places in which they are installed. As you can see on the screen here, this is another place called Gongadipura, which is in western Bangalore, very close to the Bangalore University. As you can see there, it's completely covered with weeds. There's a lot of filth there and all of that. What's very interesting about this particular inscription is that it's in the vicinity of a school, and the principal, the headmaster of that school, every year picks one such abandoned, ignored inscription stone, takes the school children to that place, cleans up the environment, and then invites us to talk about that particular inscription on the 1st of November, which is the state formation day or a Kannada Rajyotsava for us in Karnataka here. So he's been celebrating this every state formation day, November 1st, for about 5-6 years in this manner. 2023, he chose this particular inscription. Okay, so this is 3 days before the event. The next day, which was the 30th of October, you can see that we also roped in the local authorities because there were massive boulders there, which needed to be cleared and all that. So now you're seeing the place getting cleared up there, and tidied up. Once this was all done, this is what happened on November 1st. You can see on the left side, the stone There's flower garlands on that, and there's a big banner, and it's all been nice and clean and tidy. And the children of that school are sitting right on the road. And we had an event where we explained the what's written in the inscription to the children. We explained the script and the language to them, and then the people of the place as well. There's a lot of local people there. What happened that particular day was very interesting. Um, we were there early morning, around 7ish. The event was to start at 9. And as soon as I walked in, one of the local people essentially was quite upset that we were doing something like this in his locality. And he told me, "Why are you kind of creating unnecessary excitement about this? Our place is nothing great. It's an ordinary place. You're just kind of cooking up stories and confusing our people." That was his accusation. And I said, "Why don't you hold on, listen to what we have to say, and then you can decide if your place is an ordinary place or it's a special place." Now, what is interesting is that this inscription written in 1495 essentially is the donation of a village to certain Brahmins and being called a agrahara. Now, agrahara probably is familiar to most of you. It's most often thought as a place where Brahmins lived. It's actually a lot more than that. What happened on that particular day is, by becoming an agrahara, the village also became a place for learning. It became a place for education. What happens in an agrahara is obviously the religious rites, etc., and all of that, but teaching. What did they teach? Religion, obviously, the Vedas, Upanishads, and all of that as well. In addition, they would also teach logic. They would also teach grammar. They would also teach mathematics or astronomy, all of which are integral to the, to the world in which religion actually plays into here, right? And that's a place of learning, and that's really a school or a college. So this village, which was no different from the neighboring villages then, differentiated itself on that particular day by becoming all of that the neighboring villages were, plus a place of learning. And very interestingly, this place is very close to Bangalore University. So when I narrated all of this and I said, you people must be very proud because Bangalore University is continuing the tradition that was instituted in your village 600 years ago. Yours is not an ordinary place. Your children should take pride in the tradition of education and reach the highest levels of education possible. So that kind of made them look at the place they lived in a little differently. And usually, whenever we do such events in agraras, I make a plea, especially to the women and the young women. In the Indian culture, wherever you are, usually there is the practice of when a child starts education at home, the activity is called as Aksharabhyasa, and the child's fingers are run over in sugar, Om or Shri or whatever else. The elder of the house performs that ritual holding the child's fingers. So quite a familiar ritual for a lot of people. So I said, when you do this, if the mothers to be or young mothers who have young children, please do the same Aksharabhyasa ritual on that inscription stone, running the baby's fingers over the place name or whatever. And I said, mothers being mothers, you will always reinforce that to the child as long as the mother or the child is alive. Year on year, you'll keep telling that child, do you know where we did your Aksharabhyasa? We did it in some temple or somewhere else. And in addition, we did it at the inscription stone in our place. We ran your finger over our place name, the village name, Gongadipura or whatever it is. That will reinforce, build a sense of pride and belonging and identity in the child. And I said that child will stand up for the place always. If Gongadipura does not have a school, the child will try and have a school built or a hospital built or something of that nature, because the affiliation to that village will also cause a sense of belonging and the responsibility and development of the place. As I was walking out, this was the scene on the left side. We saw this playing out and we instantly kind of took photographs of this. There's a young mother with two children who's actually running her child's fingers over the inscription there. This made our day. So we were four of us that day. All of us were postgraduates or PhDs, and we had from institutions of repute. We all felt this child is going to accomplish much more than any one of us and will also stand up for Gongadipura. The photograph on the right side is the man who triggered or caused all of this, the man in the white shirt. His name is Narendra, and he's the principal of a school called the Vishwabharati School. Now think about this. The stone that was sitting there amongst all the weeds, hidden, almost as if it was something shameful, is now has a pride of place there, and events like this are playing out. But that's how people connected with that. When you said agrara and writing and the script and all of that, that's how ordinary people connect with what's written on an inscription stone. A third example, and I'll close with this 3 stories so that you kind of bring a perspective to what we do, which is not usually found in the academic circles. Now, this is an inscription stone. That's me and my friend. This photograph is from about 2017. We were looking for a few inscriptions, and there's one hero stone in the middle. You can see the warrior there. Obviously, it's not a dignified place to be in. It's in a ditch, roadside ditch. Not something people would glance at twice or think of it as anything of significance or importance. But when we understood what was written on that inscription stone, on the hero stone, this man's name is Kittayya. He died defending an attack on the town Hebbal. So there was a Rashtrakuta force which had come to raze Hebbal, the town of Hebbal. He fought against that force, and he won over them, and he died in the process. So this hero stone was put up in his memory so that people could remember his act, and he could be a role model for Hebbal residents forever. This is from 750. Which means it's about 1,300 years old. But unfortunately, the man who gave his life for the Hebbal village was not recognized. But when all of this was told to the people there, and we said, look, do you realize that this man standing here is the reason why Hebbal exists today and why you exist here today? This is the magic that played out. This mantapa, which is built in the Ganga architectural style. The Gangas were the rulers of this region at that time, and they had a architectural style of their own, short, stocky, simple pillars, simple, not very elaborate, intricate carvings and all of that. This is a crowd-funded mantapa, and the man behind this whole thing was a local resident by name Patel Srinivas, who you see on the right there. Unfortunately, he passed out during COVID. So he and I essentially, when we thought about this, and we said that man deserves a better home than a roadside ditch. So a group of people got together, and Yashashwini Sharma, who's an architect, designed this, and the costs and the money for this was raised through mementos, which I'll share a little later. But this is a crowd-funded mantapa, and this is the dignified home in which Hebbal-Kittayya resides now. There are thousands and thousands of inscriptions all over India, all over South Asia, all over anywhere else. I don't know how many of them have got such a beautiful house as this. That's what happened. That's the magic that happened when people realized what's in their midst and how it connects with them. Okay, so those are the 3 stories that I wanted to kind of sensitize you with why we do and why we think what we do is important. Okay. So essentially, this is the problem that we are trying to address. The Bengaluru region has about 1,500 documented inscription stones such as these. 1,500 is a large number, but think about this. I showed you just 3 inscriptions, and I showed the kind of connection and the emotion they can evoke in the people there. Imagine 1,500 such stories, unknown, waiting to be told. Many of them are neglected or lost. You saw a few of those. The lost ones, the significant number of those, two, destroyed, gone forever. Almost everyone in the vicinity of an inscription is not aware of what's written, which is why they're also getting lost. While a few historians do know about these, and this is documented in books, that context is completely not known to the general public at all. This is the problem we want to address here. We use technology. We also work a lot on the field, and we also do a lot of events. So that's the people part of the story that I want to tell you today as well. The story started with my own encounter with an inscription stone in my own neighborhood, in my own place. So the vicinity of where I live is called Rajajinagar today in Bangalore, but it's actually founded on a village called Ketmarnhalli. And in 2017, somebody told me, do you know the place you come from is about 600 years old. It has an inscription stone. And that was quite unbelievable for me, because the Ketmarnhalli is not a place which is really upmarket. It's not posh. People don't identify it very much these days. It's been overtaken by all the neighboring localities today. Very curious, I wanted to learn more about this, and then I discovered this book called the Epigraphy of Karnataka, where it was documented. And there it said this inscription stone is on the western outlet of a tank. Now there's been no tank here ever since I was born here. I've been here for about 5 decades or more now, and generations of people have lived here before me, but nobody remembers a lake or a tank. That was surprising. So essentially, when I asked around, nobody could recall an inscription stone or a tank. Forget an outlet or anything like that. So essentially, coming from a tech background, I was quite aware of maps and all of that. And I discovered that the earliest maps we have available here are from 1905. These are the revenue maps of all the villages. These maps are available not just for Bangalore, but everywhere in the country. So they are a documentation of how the place was 100 plus years ago, which seems to be a good place to start. So when I saw that, this is the map that you're seeing there. I'll show you the real map as well. So this is the real map that's showing up. I mean, it's live, and this link is available for anyone who wants to see it. All I've done is overlaid this the revenue 1905 map on modern Google Maps. I can zoom, I can do all of that. So what you're seeing in pink here is actually the settlement of Ketmarnhalli. And you'll see 3 lakes. There's one lake here, there's a second lake here, and there's a third lake here in the vicinity. Now, this lake is not known to anyone because you can see it's become a park. Okay. The western outlet is either this or this. Now, there's a little bit of disjoint here, basically because the overlay causes that confusion. Either ways. So I found out the lake. I found out the outlets. So I went around and looking around in that region. It's now completely built up. There's nothing there which looks anything like a lake or a village or anything like that. So I looked in this vicinity. I could not find an inscription stone anywhere here. Now, how do we identify locations of inscriptions is essentially this way. We pull out old maps because the references are no more valid today. A reference given in the Epigraphy of Karnataka 110 years ago will say by the banyan tree or by a lake outlet or something like that. Most of these places are gone today. And most of these places are also not in public memory. So we had to fall back on old maps or documents like this. So thankfully for us, the 1905 maps are virtually available for an entire state or entire India. Fairly accurate maps, actually, very good maps. So they document the roads, they document the hillocks, they document the temples, they document trees, even in most instances, wells, all of that, which is exactly the information we want for hunting something like a lost inscription. Well, the book says it was there. Tracing it means in the modern context is a lot more difficult. So we leverage technology here. We identify potential spots, and then we go back, go to the field there and check with people there and ask around and all of that and find out. So I discovered that this Ketmanalli stone was gone. It is gone for about at least 70 years because nobody in that place remembers an inscription stone like that. What was very sad was it names the place as well. It would have helped us understand how old Ketmanalli was and adjacent villages were, but we could not. So when I told the story to a few friends, all of us started getting excited by the potential histories that were undiscovered and the heritage, the incredible heritage that was out there that we did not know. Yeah. So two of us, who had regular jobs, we took up the task of going around the city, looking up for these inscription stones and talking about them and educating people and all of that. It started as a weekend activity because we had a day job to worry about. Even during that time, we were doing events, poster exhibitions, walks, and all of that. So slowly, many more people joined us from varied backgrounds. All kinds of people showed up. There were some artists, there were some scientists, there were some architects, all kinds of people showed up. And you're seeing two examples here. In the middle, on a road, along a compound, school compound, we would put up posters there. This was a cycle day event there, and we were talking to the neighborhood about where the inscription in that neighborhood was and what was written in that and all of that. So in the process, we discovered that the city of Bangalore had about 110 inscription stones existing today. Documented were about 175, which meant 60 inscriptions had been lost. That was a big issue for us. And then what we also discovered was that many of these inscriptions were unreadable because the surface was very worn out. While the Epigraphy of Karnataka, the documented book, said something, most of it was not visible at all. So coming from tech background, both of us were very clear that what we needed was accurate digital models. And we could use the power of computational technology, visualization, to enhance the image and make it more readable. So we tested through many ways of doing it. There's a paper in QJMS out on academia, which I've shared. You can look it up. We went through a few methods called reflectance transformation imaging, photogrammetry, and quite a few other techniques in trying to see what would be a good way to build a digital model or a three-dimensional digital twin of an inscription stone. What you're seeing here is one of the this was the first inscription stone we scanned. This is the Hebbal-Kittayya Inscription stone, the same one that was sitting in the ditch. We had it when the mandapa was being built. We had it removed from there and kept in a nearby place. So you're seeing two people scanning it. At that time, we had no scanner. The company selling the scanner was also owned by a person who was very much keen on heritage. So when we approached him and we wanted to test whether the scanners were good enough to help capture in 3D, high resolution 3D, he would loan us the scanner and these technicians. We would go around place to place and scan models. This was the first of the ones that we scanned. We tried quite a few methods, and then we realized that the commercial handle scanner this particular one was probably one of the few out there in the world. The scanner is from Luxembourg. I'll show more details about it later. It works. It's a very high resolution. It is good enough to capture shallow writing on stone as well. And the other thing that we started doing was we said, let's put up all this information in the Epigraphy of Karnataka on a map, which anyone can access. A lot of people don't know where there's an inscription today, what's written on it, basically because of lack of access to easy information. So let's put it up on Google Map. And these are the books. Probably many of you are familiar. There's lots and lots of books. And the Epigraphy of Karnataka alone actually documents upwards of, today, I think, about 15 to 20,000 inscriptions. Every locality of every town and every village has inscriptions, but unfortunately, That knowledge, that information is locked up in books like this. And these books are in, I would say, specialized libraries, such as in the Mythic Society library. You wouldn't find them in any other library or anybody's home, generally. So information is there in the public domain, but not accessible. So what we did was, if you're interested, you can follow me in real time here. Scan the QR code or the link. If you do that, it should bring you to this Google map. Okay, the link is on top as well. You can type it out when you're looking at this. What this map is showing here is the location of every inscription stone in the area in which we operate, which is about 6,500 square kilometers. And there's approximately about 1,800 inscription stones in this area. Each of these icons that you're seeing here is an inscription stone. And this is on Google Maps. So if you've scanned it, or if you type this address, you should also have this on your phones or screens or whatever. There's a legend behind this. A green heart essentially means the inscription stone exists at that place. It's documented in a book. It's also there today. So you can go there and you can see it in person. A red skull mark basically means that it's only in a book now. The stone is gone, destroyed. It's not traceable anymore now. So we have lost it forever. A question mark here basically means that we are not sure. It possibly is sitting inside somebody's house, or it's in a backyard or somewhere. We don't have confirmation that it's really lost. So we are hopeful, and we marked it with a question mark in the hope that either we'll get confirmation of its existence or destruction, either ways. Okay, let me show you that map itself. Okay, this is the map. And this is a live map that I'm showing you. So I can zoom in and I can zoom out, all of that. So what you're seeing here is the entire project area, the 1,600 inscriptions on, in the region of Bangalore here. Now, this is a dynamic map. It's not just the icons. When you click on the icon, you'll see on your left side, let me pick one yep, there you are. So the views will be a little different on mobile phones and changes from the desktop to the mobile phones. When I click on an icon, it shows me the photo of the inscription or video sometimes. So it's going to show you, in this case, there's a video. We can as well see the video too. Okay, I'll skip the video for now, but the inscription is inside. It tells you where it is, where is it documented, and the exact location as given in the original publication. What date is it from? What language is it written in? What's the status as we see it today? The text of the inscription in IAST, we have reread it and we have found some corrections in that. We give that as well. And in the original language. If it is Kannada, then we give the text of the inscription in Kannada, or if it's Tamil or Telugu. Most often you'll find all of them there. Now, this is information that's nice and good. You can also do more. You can click on this arrow button here, and it'll give you the, it'll give you the route to that inscription stone from wherever you are. Right now, I'm in my house, and it says from my house to that inscription is a 13-minute journey. This is the usual Google Maps that we use for navigation. So you can use it not just for finding out historical data. You can also use it for finding your way, navigating your way into that. And you don't have to go into any library to check on what's written on that inscription. You can use this there, then and there itself. In fact, we give letter by letter transliterations using the images, using in our software Akshara Bandara, which I'll cover next week. Here we just give you the text, but there we actually give you the image of each and every character as it is on the stone as well. Okay, let me show you something more. From a researcher's perspective, yeah, all this is nice. What's the big deal, right? Now imagine, I just want to, I'm trying to research certain types of inscriptions. I want to see all the inscriptions that are related to lake. in the search field, this works only in the admin mode. It may not. Sometimes it works for any ordinary user. Sometimes it doesn't. That's a quirk of Google. So when I search for lake here, it's showing me all the inscriptions that have the word lake in that. So if I zoom in, you'll see. Let me switch the view to from the terrain to a satellite view. That will improve the visibility. Yeah, here you go. There are few that are circled in white. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, and all of that. Essentially, these are inscriptions that are related to a lake. They could be building of a lake, they could be some maintenance of a lake or something like that. So easy, isn't it? In 1600 inscriptions, we surfaced on a map those inscriptions there. Let me try and do the same for a temple. So show me all the temple. Oops. Okay. So show me all the temple-related inscriptions. Highlight them on the map. I could ask them to show. So there are so many temple-related inscriptions. Amazing, isn't it? I can do all kinds of searches here. Now, in Google, I can do only these kind of simple searches. I cannot do combination searches like saying temple Vishnu. I can do a temple where Vishnu is the deity or something like that. No, we are working on it. We are developing on a different platform for doing that kind of thing. That's essentially the future for what we are doing here. Okay. We also have two other similar maps. So there's an ancient temples of Bangalore map. What you're seeing here on the screen are approximately about 400 temples, ancient temples. These are not modern temples. By ancient, I mean anything which is from 16th century and prior to 16th century. Typically, the oldest temple we have here is from the 7th century. Okay, so just like there, if you click on an image here, you get a lot of information about it. You say, where is this temple? When was it built? What type of, if there's some architectural temple information as well about the temple itself. So even here we could do the same thing. Actually, I can do this thing. I can show me all the ancient Shiva temples in my neighborhood. There you are, at one shot. So nice, isn't it? Okay, now I can say, show me all the Vishnu temples here. There you go. Pre-16th century Vishnu temples. Actually, if I did a filter here, I can say, show me only the 10th century temples here. Now, what you're going to see is all the 10th century temples in the vicinity of INA project area. There's quite a few of them. Amazing, because I don't think too many people know that there are so many 10th century temples in the vicinity of Bangalore city. In fact, there are older temples here. Let me show you an 8th century temple. There you are. There are about 3 or 4 of them. There's upwards of 400 temples out here now. This is all of this information, and similarly, we have also a map for hero stones. So I'm not going to show that again. I'm not going to do the same here. I can quickly, maybe I can show you. I can show me all the tiger, Hulibete or tiger hero stones where people have died in encounters with tigers. There you are. There's so many of them. So if research becomes so much more easier, and then it's GIS based. We are not kind of doing just a text-based search or whatever. We are also considering the geography of the place now when we do this kind of research as well. How did we get all this information? And let me take you there. That is through surveys. Okay. By the way, this is a view of Bangalore that I would like to show to everyone as well. The only thing we have done here is we added a legend bar on top. So it's color coded on top. If you see, brown is 500 to 700 CE, and the rightmost is the youngest part of the region of locality of Bangalore, 1501 to 1600. Each of these divisions here is the wards of the city. Bangalore has about 240 wards. Many of the ward names are also the earlier village names. They carry forward like that. So what we have done here is if a place name is mentioned in an inscription from a certain period, we give it that color. For example, this region, the place name of this region is found in an inscription from the 1301 to 1400, so we give it this color. Okay, so the oldest locality in the city is from the 6th century. That's called the Electronic City. It's called, the old name is Begur, more popular as Electronic City. Infosys, Wipro, all of them have the campuses there. So this is in one pictorial view, you can see the antiquity of the vintage of each of the localities or the wards of the city of Bangalore. A lot of people think that Bangalore is a new city, doesn't have much history. But the story that I'm seeing in this picture is incredible. I don't know how many global cities in the world can claim to this kind of a history, going back 1500 years. Yeah. Okay. On the bottom here, in a small box, is essentially the name of the city itself, Bengaluru, as depicted in a 900 CE inscription. Bengaluru's first mention is in that inscription, and I'll show it to you a little bit later as well. So the city is definitely not a new city at all. Okay. So we also publicize this information a lot. So the same poster is essentially in the flower show, in the famous Lalbagh flower show, we had giant posters of these made and put up there. If you had seen the Gongadipura event as well, it had the same map in the place there. So the idea is to kind of help create more awareness with the people, residents of the city here as well. We leverage technology to present information, capture information, document all of that. We also do that same in terms of publicizing that information with people too. So in 2021, and all the while, the story that I narrated was just as a volunteer group. In 2021, Mythic Society kind of adopted us. They funded this project for us, and they said we'll do this in a structured way with a team. So they funded this project at that time, and we started work. And since then, we accomplished a lot. We will see most of that in the 2 sessions that we are talking today and next week. We launched an archive called Akshara Bhandara, which is a digital repository of Kannada of scripts in our inscriptions. Everything that I'm speaking about is all captured in Akshara Bhandara today. It's a repository of inscriptions. It's a repository of characters. It's a learning tool. All of that. We'll cover this extensively next week. We have associated metadata to go along with all of these. And all this data is nice and fine, but if you really want to use it effectively, then you need to have a lot of metadata. I'll talk about this again next week when we get in there. Almost all of the work we do is open access. We're not a commercial organization, so we're happy to share what we do. We share it in multiple ways, which social media forms on Wikimedia Commons, Wikipedia articles, and all of that. And while we have a small team, we also have a extensive network of volunteers, scholars who also work with us and join with us at times. Okay. So this is the 4 of us who are working on the project today. 3 of them are PhDs, are working to be PhDs. I'm the only one who doesn't have a formal history background. I'm an engineer by qualification. So our basic goal is to develop very high resolution 3D models of the 1500 inscriptions. By very high resolution, I mean something which is of the order of about 0.05 millimeters. I'll show a real model to you in a second. So we survey the region. We operate in 3 districts, Bangalore urban, Bangalore rural, and Ramnagara districts, which is approximately 6,500 square kilometers, a fairly large area. So we survey every one of these villages for heritage artifacts, and then we go and scan these inscriptions. We study the inscriptions. We reread what is written in them. We publish them, and then we also do public events and all of that as well. Scanning of inscriptions, we do it on priority because it's such a large number. Whichever ones we think are the most endangered, we scan them on priority. How do we do the surveys? I'll show it briefly here. We use a tool called Epicollect. It's actually developed by University of Oxford and Big Data Institute. It's an open source freeware. Anybody can use it. It's used by all kinds of people to gather data. It's used by governments. It's used by people in the field. Any kind of researcher who's going to gather data, large voluminous data, is going to use it. So far we have documented about 5,000 plus heritage objects. Any place we go to, whether it's a temple or whether it's an inscription or a hero stone or a Kalyani or whatever else, we record it. When we do surveys, we are not discriminating just inscriptions. We document everything. That is how you saw the ancient temples map being created there, or the hero stones map created there, whatever. About 20,000 kilometers. This is just a guess. We haven't kept track of it. Probably 20,000, a few plus or minus 1,000 kilometers is being covered. We do surveys ourselves, as well as we use students and interns to do this kind of surveys as well. We do multiple levels of surveys. We do one round of survey by our own team, and then subsequently we ask students to go up and fill in more areas there and all of that. It's a very exhaustive village-to-village survey. We identify every village in the district or taluk, and we put it up on a map, and we go and visit that place. So as I mentioned, it's iterative. It's not just one survey. We do visit the places multiple times, and then we see what's there. We use mobile phones, ubiquitous mobile phones, easily accessible. And when we are doing surveys, the data is almost in real time updated on the maps that I showed you. By the end of the day, all the heritage objects that were discovered in the survey at that time, on that day by the team, are on the Inscription Stones of Bangalore Google Map, the temples Google Map, and the Hero Stones Google Map, accessible to anyone instantaneously, anywhere in the world. We prefer to publish our information this way, which is more democratic and which is also universally accessible that way, with all the richness of what you saw today. Okay, so how does it look? Let me kind of quickly take a second to show it to you. If you've not used EpiCollect, it will be a very interesting thing to see. Here you go. So I'm showing it to you for one of the surveys that we did recently. So this is the map view to that. Each of these places, there's so many entries. So as I keep zooming in, it kind of keeps showing you more and more granular level data. So when I click on this, on the left side, you should be seeing now the information that was collected on that day, at that time. So who was the person who visited? What day did he visit? What time did he visit? What are the GPS coordinates there? What was it that he saw there? There's a small video clip, there'll be photographs and all of that. Then what is the objects? A lot of information is gathered about it. Did you find any inscription stones? Did you find any hero stones? Did you find any sculptures? If you did, then document the capture photographs of those. They uploaded here and all of that as well. Okay, so this is how we do exhaustive surveys. The questionnaire is about 65 questions, and all kinds of questions are there, which make sense from a history archaeology perspective. So when I said we have 20,000 records, that's basically what I meant. So all the data that goes in there is essentially that way. You're not relying on books alone. Books give us a lot of information. In addition, we do our own surveys as well. So that's how we gather the data. And I think the first part of a project is essentially collecting data like this. Okay. And then when it comes from a conservation perspective, I said we want to do this, right? We want to protect every single inscription stone. We don't want to lose any more. So when we built this mantapa, we thought the stone's going to be around. This stone has been around for 1,300 years. It will be around for another 1,300 years as well. But is it really going to happen? Are we really sure? I don't think so. Now, the current way of documenting an inscription is this. You probably are very familiar with this. It's called an estampage, a paper imprint of the writing. As you can see, sitting from where I am today, this is a primitive way of documenting inscriptions. If the stone is destroyed, the fallback for us is this paper copy. Paper copies are highly perishable. One, they're not good. As you can see, the one I'm holding on the left side, hardly recognizable, not readable. In the 21st century, we definitely have better ways of capturing copying inscriptions than this. Okay. Why do we have to do it? Because they're broken or destroyed. You're seeing an example here where an inscription stone is being broken into pieces. It's being used for building material. Stampages are also, so the stones getting destroyed, the stampage also doesn't last. Like I already mentioned to you, those red skull marks there's about 400 of them in our project area. There is not a single stampage of any one of them available today for us to cross-check or verify or see what was written or anything like that. Yeah. So even the one that we have put up in the Hebbal-Kittayya Mantapa will wear away with time. It'll chip away, it'll flake, all of that will happen. The surface will fade away. The writing will fade away over hundreds of years and thousands of years. Doesn't work. So we need to capture them differently. And the solution that we have is essentially a high resolution 3D digital model of the inscription. Okay. How do we do it? This is the scanner that's there. So with this scanner is from a company called Artec, like I already mentioned, it's a Luxembourg company. It's used mostly in the aerospace consumer sector. The origins of this kind of a device are in the space and aerospace sectors, which is where I come from, and that is how I knew about this device as well, or this methodology as well. It's actually a group of cameras, and there's flashes and all of that. So the process is we go to the field, we scan there using, and then we come back to our office, and then we do a lot of cross-parsing. I won't go into each one of those steps, but I want to show you how it looks on the field. So there's a scanner and there's a laptop that we have there. We carry the battery operated. If there's power, we can use power, or otherwise we can work with batteries. So you're seeing one of our team members, Kumar, here holding the scanner, and he's scanning this 10th century hero stone. As you can see, this is actually a graveyard. Inscriptions are everywhere. They're not just in temples or places like that. So through these photographs, I'm going to show you the environments in which we scan as well as what does it look like. So here's two things. A lot of people, the moment you say inscriptions, come to think of this scene. This is the Sringeri temple, the Vidyashankar temple. Beautiful, in a temple, protected, respected, worshipped, admired, all of that. That's not reality. Reality is also this. Ignored, abandoned, all of that. Okay. This is in the rural side, you'll find the inscriptions in the fields like this. This is a hero stone with an inscription. This one is again from the 9th century. Leaning, it's somewhere out in the field where you don't have a power. This one, you have to carry your equipment there, and then maybe scan there. This is another one which is a repurposed, it's called a Veera Gudi. It's a hero, it's a temple, mini temple built for a hero. So it's on a street there, we go, you can see Madhusudan, one of our team members sitting inside and scanning that inscription. In the urban context, this is also very common. So this is in Banshankari, a pretty busy area, and this is by a roadside. This is actually a wedding chowdhury. So a 10th century hero stone has become a part of the compound wall. So you can see here, Anusha is the fourth member of our team. The two of them, Shashi and Anusha, are scanning this inscription as well. This is how we do. We go to those 1,500 inscription spots wherever they are. Some of them are on hillocks, some of them are on boulders, some of them are on roadsides, some of them are in these kinds of places. I want to show you the varieties of environments in which they sit. Okay, so let's see how a real model looks itself. I have one already set up. Now here I'm using a software called MeshLab. It's a software that's developed by an Italian university. It's again open source. Anybody can do that. So what you're seeing on the screen is actually a 3rd century inscription stone from a place called Sanati as well. So it may look like a photograph to you right now. So what you can do with the photograph is you can zoom in, you can zoom out, all of that. You'll see some writing here at the bottom. You may see some writing faintly over there. This is Brahmi script of the time as well. So in a two-dimensional object, all you can do is pan, zoom, whatever, right? Because we have scanned it in 3D, we can do something more. I can spin it around. I can see it from any angle I want. This is a complete three-dimensional model of that. Right? And because I'm in the digital world, I can leverage the power of sophisticated rendering algorithms and highlight this in different ways. So what I'm going to do now is shine a light from the left side to the right side. It's like shining a torch. So let me zoom in so that you can see it better. So the shadows, because of the shadow play, the writing becomes even better to visualize. But this is no big deal, right? Anybody can go to the real object, shine a light, and do the same. I can do a lot more. What I can do is I can use some different rendering algorithms, keep looking at the object. You'll see suddenly the quality of the image jump out and improve. There you go. It became much sharper, much clearer. The box-head nature of the characters is now visible. You can see the box head actually here, which wasn't very clear that time. Again, I can do the same on this object. I can shine a light from different angles and look at it. Actually, it's placed sideways. So let me orient it so clearly anybody here who can read Brahmi can actually read the text too as well. Keep looking at the object now. I'm going to do something different. I inverted it so it becomes even more easier to read. I'll strip off the color of the stone. Let's see what happens. There you are. It's so much more easier to read. You will be able to read this is A, this is Ya. Whoever knows Brahmi will be able to identify these characters. Now look at this. So easy to read now. This is the advantage of a 3D model. I can take measurements on this too. I can say, tell me how deep is this? Go. I don't know if you can read it well. It says 2.4 millimeters deep. I can do it because this is a 3D object. So this is really the core of everything we do. We go to the site, we survey, we go to the site, we scan the models, we come back to our offices, we build these kind of 3D models, we read the inscriptions, we make corrections to the text of the inscription, we write about them, we publicize about them, and we study them. The study part is something I'll cover next week, more detail. Okay, that's how a 3D model looks like. That's not the only thing possible. Because we have a 3D model, we can actually do 3D printing of these. So we came from the physical world, which was a stone, to the digital space, and then we can go back to the physical space. Here you are seeing this. This is the original stone. We have a digital model. We 3D print it in resin or whatever material we want. We can make a casting out of it in brass, in gold, in whatever you want. You can machine it, and we can create millions of copies of this. That's what we did with the Hebbal-Kittayya stone. This is a memento that we had built. And these are the mementos we used to raise funds for building that Hebbal-Kittayya Mantapa. Very high. This is a 1/12 scale of the original thing. The original era stone is about 5 foot tall. This is about 10 inches. So there's writing here. We also put up a digital image, and then we kind of highlighted the writing so that anybody can read this, both in Kannada as well as IAST. So this information is now accessible to anyone and everyone. We also had a booklet going with this, which gave the complete story of discovery to the what's written in the stone and the mantapa and all that. So the digital model helps you build physical replicas in as many numbers as you want. 1,000 of these were made, and 1,000 of these are now all over the world, in any place where Bangaloreans have gone. It's usable for research, and you probably would have already got some inkling to this. Because of the clarity of the images, reading becomes clearer, unambiguous, and simpler. Now, in this particular case, the epigrapher, Dr. P.V. Krishnamurthy, who was attempting to read it, could not read a few letters there. those letters were very significant because they named the attacking force. So he could understand everything, that who was the hero, who was the who was the ruler at that time. All of that information was clear in the stone, but he could not read those few characters which actually named the attacking force. So at the same time, when we scanned this, we gave him the digital image, and using the digital image, because it was so easy to read, he identified the letters Rattavadi, the Rashtrakutas, as the attackers. That's how we came to identifying the attackers. So we can use it for research as well. Now, this is the entire landscape of a digital model that we do. So I've spoken about replicas and memorabilia, and I've shown you this one. You can also use it for t-shirts, though unfortunately the t-shirt I'm wearing right now has something about an inscription stone as well. This helps to create a lot of awareness in the general public. We can use a digital model to make replicas. It helps us in, like I showed you right now, that Sanati Ayaka pillar. Beautiful clarity, right? You can show it to the public. You can show it to students, you can show it to researchers, you can show it to anyone and bring out the realism in that in an incredible way. For in the epigraphy research thing, something has been read. How do you know it's right? Do you just go by what's been published, or do you have any ability to verify and improve on what's been read? I'll cover this extensively in next week's topic. There's significant errors, you'll be surprised. It helps us to correct errors. We are also in the process of building software based on what we have, and I'll show you a glimpse of this again next week. The ability to automatically read inscriptions. Epigraphists is an endangered, almost extinct community. There are not too many people alive who can read inscriptions today. And there are thousands of inscriptions that still need to be read. Lack of humans to do this essentially means we have to resort to automation. And the data that we are generating is essentially the foundation for developing something like that as well. So that's how we impact the field of epigraphy in very fundamental ways. Conservation, as you're aware, the stone's going to degrade in quality over the time, or there could be an accident, unintentional accident, which causes breakage. A digital model can't be broken. It's everlasting. It doesn't degrade. So we have a digital archive of all those inscriptions as well. And again, like I said, for software development, all of these are activities in progress. Development of fonts for ancient scripts. Multiple applications, just for the fun of it, is one. And again, in Akshara Bandara, we have the ability to do this. You want to see your name written in, say, 8th century Kannada, we can do it today. Or you can, let's say, a word processing package, you want to use a certain font, and let's say in a 10th century book in Kannada, you want to see it or visualize it, or you want to read it in 10th century Kannada script, we can do that today as well. Or the reverse. And this problem is very intense in the manuscripts world. Most of you would have also felt this. Manuscripts, the scripts used in manuscripts or stone inscriptions are different from the scripts that we use today. Can we do an OCR kind of an attempt at that, where the software reads it by itself? What data we are generating today is fundamental to doing that as well. A lot of other studies too. This is really why we need digital models. Okay? And I've kind of shown there are many other scenarios as well, but these are the ones that are, the reason and the utility of what we do. Okay. In addition, we do public events. These are some examples of that. Continually, week after week, or at least a few in a month, we are doing public events like on the street or in virtual events like what I'm doing today now as well. We believe the public needs to know the story more than anyone else. They're the custodians. They are the ones who relate to that. And I've shown you 3 examples, extraordinary examples of how people relate to that. Okay. How do we get information across? One of the most effective ways we have seen is using the Wikipedia. The Wikipedia works miraculously in different ways. Today, the ubiquitous Google. Anyone, there's a news item about something, instantaneously you want to learn more, you go to Google search and type out the word, and The first hit, if you see most often now, especially with AI coming in today, is a Wikipedia article. It's a summary of the Wikipedia article. So if you want to reach people, to people who are not going to go to libraries and read reference books or textbooks or whatever, the wiki is a great way to do that. So right now we have put up about 90 plus inscriptions are on the Wikipedia. What's extraordinarily amazing is the usage. This is the usage graph. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but there in the small screen. Essentially, there's about 4 to 20 people seeing an inscription article every day. These are not some of them are researchers, some of them are historians, most of them are just somebody on the street. They're just curious about a certain locality, they type it in, and then there's a hit there. I was planning to show you the actual page. I'll skip it because of time, I think, but the message is this. Imagine this.
Udaya, if we could maybe soon go over to a question and answer part of the session, because we're already.
I have 2 more slides and I'm done. Okay. So again, this is another thing I wanted to show you. We have upwards of about 700 images on Wikimedia Commons. So recently for a seminar on the Kadambas, early Kadambas, we went and scanned all the Kadamba inscriptions. We have put up images there. So this particular inscription is very dear and close to all Kannadigas because this is the first inscription which has Kannada in that. So it's called the Halmidi inscription. So this, again, every day we are seeing about 10 people accessing these images. So in conclusion, for today's session, citizen scholars partnership is very, very, very powerful. You saw the dances there, you saw the professions there, you saw the mother performing the Aksharabhyasa ritual there. That information went to them from scholars. When that information went to them, you saw how they were celebrating that history and heritage. Interdisciplinary approaches, everything that I've shown you today, is bringing in GIS, is bringing in scanning, which is a sophisticated technique, is using the Wikipedia for information sharing, very powerful. We can reach information to all kinds of communities using this. Professionals can bring an extraordinary rigor to what you do. You saw the way we do surveys. You saw the way we do the modeling. So we do you'll see more of this in next weeks as well. And together, we make history very accessible and very rich for everyone, for the academician community, historian community, as well as for the common citizen as well. So in our project, we just don't save stones. We save stories. That's what we live for. Thank you. I'll take the questions now.